Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress, continuing the build-up to the 2018 Candidates Tournament, which will start on Saturday, March 10th in Berlin. In the last two videos we looked at the Candidates Tournament from 2013, won by Magnus Carlsen, from 2014, won by Viswanathan Anand, and in this video we look at the last Candidates Tournament, which was held in 2016 in Moscow, and it was Sergey Karjakin who won the tournament and qualified to play against world champion Magnus Carlsen, which was held in New York at the end of 2016. Who were the participants in 2016? Well, this is from the first report on ChessBase introducing the players. It says, according to FIDE regulations, the list of players includes the top two performers from the 2014-2015 Grand Prix, Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana, both of the USA. The winner and runner-up of the 2015 World Cup, Sergey Karjakin and Peter Svidler, both of Russia, as well as the loser of the 2014 World Chess Championship match, Viswanathan Anand of India. Veselin Topalov of Bulgaria and Anish Giri of the Netherlands, based on their 2015 FIDE ratings, are likely to have qualified to participate. The eighth and final participant is Karjakin-Aronian of Armenia, who was chosen as wildcard entry by the organizers. And actually I had forgotten that Karjakin-Aronian only got into that Candidates Tournament through a wildcard. So these were the 8 participants, their nation and their world ranking at the time: Caruana, Giri, Nakamura, Aronian, Topalov, Anand, Karjakin and Svidler. This is the cross table of the event. Sergey Karjakin was the winner with 8.5, a full point ahead of Caruana, who finished in joint second together with Anand. Svidler, Aronian and Giri and Nakamura were half a point behind. And Veselin Topalov had a very bad tournament. He finished clearly in 8th place, 2.5 points behind his nearest competitor. In this video we'll look at the last round game between Sergey Karjakin with white and Fabiano Caruana with black. They were both on 7.5 out of 13, but Karjakin had a better tiebreak. He had won more games, so Caruana needed to win with black to become Magnus Carlsen's challenger. Karjakin only needed a draw. The game was played on the 28th of March 2016. Let's have a look. Karjakin opened e4 and he analyzed this game for New in Chess, so I'm taking many of his comments for this video. And he said, in this last round I simply wanted to concentrate on my game and play well. Caruana had prepared the Sicilian for this must-win game. Knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes, knight f6, knight c3 and d6, the Rouser variation of the Sicilian, which Caruana had not played with black since 2009. And Karjakin wrote, Fabiano pins his hope on the complicated Rouser variation, which is currently not so popular. So Caruana tried to surprise Karjakin with this opening choice. Bishop g5, e6, queen d2, a6, Karjakin castled queenside, bishop d7, f4 and h6. At the press conference, Caruana revealed that by way of preparation he had played through the Chinese grandmasters Li Chao's games with the Rouser. Li Chao is an expert on this system. Bishop back to h4, and now the main moves are either g5, kicking the bishop again, or knight takes e4. But Caruana had prepared a sideline for this game. Karjakin writes that knight takes e4 is too provocative anyway for such a game, because of queen e1 is the variation he gives, knight back to f6, and then knight f5. Caruana did not want to go for this, and he played this sideline as mentioned, which is b5. Karjakin took on f6, and g takes, and f5. Karjakin writes, the idea of weakening the light squares around the black king seemed very tempting to me, especially since compared with variations with the pawn on h7, there's no longer the important bishop maneuver, bishop f8, h6, f4. So that is normally quite a good maneuver for black, playing the bishop this way. But of course with the pawn on h6 that is no longer possible. So that gave Karjakin confidence that f5 was indeed a good move. Queen b6 from Karjana. F takes, and knight takes e6, a very solid move. Of course, Karjakin only needed a draw, so solid moves are good enough for him. Karjana took back with the queen. Bishop d3, h5, king b1, b4, knight e2, queen c5, rook hf1. Karjana develops his bishop to h6, attacking the queen. Queen went to e1 and a5. Here Karjakin played b3. He said, I like this move, after which the bishop is guaranteed a more worthy place. And he meant he'd be able to put his bishop on c4, which is a good square there. Here Karjana played rook g8, and there was a comment on the move a4. And no matter how natural this move looks, it is a mistake because it weakens the b4 pawn. And the famous trainer Mark Dvoretsky explained that black wants his queen on e5, not on c5, defending the b4 pawn. So defending the b4 pawn is the task of the a5 pawn, and that's why a4 is not a good move. Karjana also agreed with that statement from the famous trainer Mark Dvoretsky, and he played rook g8 as mentioned. g3 from Karjakin, making sure that black cannot take that pawn. King e7. Black's king is still in the center. Bishop c4 as planned. And bishop e3, and as Karjakin writes, expressing in ice hockey terms, skillfully knocking the puck into the danger zone. That bishop is now indeed in the danger zone in white's position. Rook f3 and rook g4. Karjana's position looks quite attractive on the surface. His pieces are actively placed and he has good chances. However, his king is on e7, and that should be kept in mind. The king is not safe there. Queen f1 from Karjakin. Rook f8. Knight f4. Karjana took that knight. Rook takes back. And now a4. B takes a4. And bishop takes. Queen d3 from Karjakin. And he says the idea of the pawn sacrifice is now in the air. He's going to sacrifice a pawn with the e4, e5 move, as we'll see. Bishop back to c6 from Karjana. Bishop b3 and rook g5. And there comes that pawn sacrifice, e4, e5. Karjakin writes, there were no real threats by black to strengthen his position, but I now wanted to clarify the situation. Karjana took it, and here Karjakin gives the variation queen h7 check, rook f7 and queen h8, and he says, but was also interesting with dynamic equality. But in the game he decided on rook c4, attacking the queen. Rook d5, counter-attacking white's queen. Karjakin stepped back to e2. Queen b6, rook h4, rook e5, queen d3, and now bishop to g2 from Karjana. He wants to play d5, and then he wants to keep his bishop actively placed on e4, so that's why he plays the bishop out of the way, so he can play d5, and then hopefully bishop back to e4 later. And this is quite an ambitious move, bishop g2. Rook d4 from Karjakin, which he calls good centralization with these heavy pieces on the d-file. There comes d5 as planned. Queen d2, and now rook e4, which is a mistake. Caruana was under terrible time pressure and missed White's next move. Karjakin said he was expecting bishop e4 instead, and then had planned rook takes b4, queen c6, king b2 with approximate equality, he says. But rook e4 is a mistake. And here comes a beautiful move from Karjakin, who of course also was under terrible pressure. He found rook takes d5, a beautiful rook sacrifice. And he writes, "This decisive move came to mind quite quickly, but there was too much at stake to make it without checking the variations." So Karjakin took some time to check the variations and then went for the rook sacrifice. Caruana took it, queen takes, and Karjakin writes in New in Chess magazine, "The lack of harmony in Black's ranks prevents him from defending his isolated king." Yes, the big problem here is the king, which is in the open and has not much protection. Queen c7 come from Caruana, and queen f5. Queen h7 now is a very difficult threat to meet. Caruana played rook f7. Of course, he's a rook up, so he can give some material back. And he offered a draw at this moment. Karjakin writes, "Here Fabiano offered me a draw. Let us put this down to nervous tension and the excessively high stakes." Even though a draw would have qualified Karjakin for the World Championship match, this position is so easily winning that he did not accept the draw and played on. He took the rook, and if you take back, then you lose your queen with queen h7 check with a skewer, king e8, queen takes e7, and White is decisive material up. So after bishop takes f7, Caruana played queen e5, rook d7 check from Karjakin, king f8, and rook d8 check. And here Fabiano Caruana resigned, and Sergey Karjakin won the tournament and was Magnus Carlsen's challenger. Caruana resigned here because if he takes the bishop, there is queen a7 check, king e6, and queen d7 is checkmate. Great win from Karjakin under the utmost pressure. And a very happy picture, Sergey Karjakin after the game against Caruana. You can see from his face how delighted he is that he qualified for the World Championship match, which he only narrowly lost at the end of 2016 in a tiebreak, in a rapid tiebreak to Magnus Carlsen. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you are looking forward to the 2018 Candidates Tournament as much as I am. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. If you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media as well. You can also check my Chess2 Progress channel. The link is in the description box. I have series there on tactics, on endgames, on classics from the past and the present, and on analyzing viewers' games. There's also series there on checkmate in the opening, on mate in 2, on endgame compositions, all that kind of stuff. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.